interesting site ideas and some pretty freaking weird ones.
Huh.
You did it to me again, didn't you, Dan?
You tell me to every week.
I know. I love it. I secretly love it, and then I act like I'm so upset that you started it in the middle of a sentence.
What? We started in the middle of Brandi's sentence? No, no.
As long as you don't cut me off in the middle of my sentence, we'll be fine.
Oh, that's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I have that power. I forgot. I won't do that. Hey, welcome everyone. Once again, living up to our name as the Unready Room. I'm Dan Gunther. With me is Brandi, Jackola, and I think that's who's down there? What's going on down there?
Me.
Wow, it's Bruce Gibson.
I'm not Bruce. Arr.
You're just talking like a pirate randomly, right?
Arr.
And why not?
Tucker. Arr.
Hey, it's Beltane. Anything goes today, you guys. Everybody's like furiously, what is Beltane on their phones? Because they have no idea.
Well, today we are talking about the Star Trek Enterprise two-parter from Season 4, In a Mirror Darkly, Parts 1 and 2. And thank you all so much for joining us. Happy to see a lot of familiar faces in the comments, and happy to have the three of us together for this discussion. So, yeah, how are you guys doing today?
I got my second shot on Tuesday, and I have been so messed up this week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I got my first shot about 4 hours ago now. So,
oh no,
doing okay.
My arm still hurts. And I was like sick for 3 days. I'm now starting to feel normal-ish, but I'm so tired.
Oh, which vaccine did you get?
I got Moderna because if it's good enough for Dolly Parton, it's good enough for me, y'all.
Hey, it's Moderna. High five.
Woo! No. There we go.
This
it's
is
like
the
hard to
quality
do
entertainment you've come here to see.
I gotta look at the screen so I know if I'm hitting. Got it. Yes.
I'm doing okay. First shot, arm's a little sore, a little stiff maybe, but other than that, I'm doing good. So, yeah,
it's still totally worth it to me because this will save lives, even my own.
Absolutely.
Because it has become very clear that if I got a bad case of COVID, I'd be down for the count and probably hospitalized. So,
yeah.
Not
fun. You never know. I got both shots. My second one was not this past Monday, but the Monday before. But I took the next day off from work because most people I talked to were sick. My wife, she slept for like 5 hours the next day after her second off, but nothing happened to me. I was fine the next day. So I just took a day off. And no lie, I spent most of the day, if my boss is watching, just say hi. I watched Star Trek stuff all day. Like I just randomly was picking Star Trek things and I was watching them all day.
That sounds great. Was In a Mirror Darkly included in that?
It was not. That was done today though, but it wasn't.
Excellent. Right on. Yeah, so very, depending on who you ask, classic episodes that definitely stick in people's minds. I'm trying to be value neutral here because I think there's some interesting opinions on this particular panel that we'll get to that I think is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about that. I'm kind of flashing back to when they were first airing and the kind of idea of them because, I was online and sucking in all of the behind the scenes stuff I could at the time. I was as big a Trekkie then as I am now. And I remember the big thing they were talking about was it's a mirror universe two-parter, but it's unlike any that's been in the past before this, which would be TOS and Deep Space Nine, because it involves no crossover from our universe to that universe. And the exact phrase, I think it was Rick Berman, said it would be as though you were living in the mirror universe and you tuned into Star Trek Enterprise to watch an episode that night in the mirror universe. And that always stuck with me. It's like an interesting concept. A couple problems with that concept, maybe, and I want to talk about that later when we get to kind of our wrap up, but interesting to start with because that always kind of grabbed me. Do you guys remember watching this originally back when it first aired, or?
Nope, because pretty much it was getting preempted all the time. And so I missed most of seasons 3 and 4 for that reason.
That's frustrating. I hate that.
Yeah, because I remember you had that issue. You've talked about that even with Voyager, same situation. Yeah,
it started with Voyager, and it was because they had it on their own network instead of doing the syndication thing like they did with TNG and Deep Space Nine. TNG and Deep Space Nine almost never got preempted, and if they did get preempted, you knew when it was going to be playing later. But it's didn't happen that way.
Asking, why was it preempted? It was because of sports, right?
Sports. Yeah. Always sports. Whether it was baseball, basketball, football, wrestling, it was always sports.
Yeah. I don't know if we have any kids or younger people in the audience, but preempted means, okay, back in the day, you had to schedule when you were watching a TV show because it just aired at a certain time and you had to be there when it aired. Crazy, I know. And sometimes they decided that something else was more important than your weekly Star Trek. Who the heck ever made that decision? I have no idea. They're nuts, but that's the way it was.
Yep. I did see these as they aired. They were never preempted. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, because the station I was living in Atlanta. The station that carried that network, UPN, at the time, did not have sports on the network. So I lucked out because of that. But I did see these episodes as they premiered. Yes. I watched all of season 4 as it premiered. Well, I saw all the previous seasons when they premiered too.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I did too. I think it was on City TV up here in Canada. And I think it was rarely preempted, if I remember correctly. Maybe occasionally, but I remember pretty much tuning in every week and watching, and that was, I don't know, I really enjoyed these when they first aired. I think my sensibilities have changed a little bit in the almost decades since, but we'll get to that for sure.
It has been decades. Oh my goodness.
Just about, yeah.
Oh, I just remembered how old I'm turning this year.
Oh no.
How old are you turning? No, I'm kidding. No, forget.
I'm going to be. I'm not ashamed of my age. I'm going to be 48.
You young people.
You're what? 3 years ahead? Huh?
Oh no! October during New York Comic Con, because my birthday is always during New York Comic Con. That's why I never go to it. I'll be 54.
Okay, so 6 years.
6 years.
It's 5.5.
I was in first grade when you were born, probably.
Oh, I'm just not going to comment. So, Avenue Pad, wish you could stick around too, but thanks for stopping by. Good to see you, and good luck with work. So
yeah, good luck. At least we weren't preempted by sports on this show.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about these episodes. I think part 1 and part 2 you can kind of pretty much differentiate. Part 1, I would say, is like mostly introducing us to the Mirror universe at this time. And I'm loving like the nods and stuff to the classic Mirror episode, kind of taking a lot of what's there wholesale and transferring it 100 years earlier to the Enterprise era. Just as an example, I love the little bit of added design to the NX-01, like just those details. And I think we probably have to start by talking about that very first scene, actually, before we get into any of that stuff, because that's something that even if I don't go and rewatch these episodes, like I'll watch that little segment again because I think it's so well done.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
I'm trying to remember that opening scene because it just kind of is all jumbled together in my mind, and I'll be fair in saying that I still have a bit of brain fog from this week. So I'm just kind of trying to think of what happened.
First contact, Cochran.
Yeah, for context.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, we get the April 5th, 2063 Vulcan ship landing. Same music, same shots. I love it.
and they were really clever with how they continued that scene in a different way. That was really cleverly done, because obviously that wasn't actually James Cromwell. But the way that they've dressed that stand-in, and never actually seeing his face. So, like he's got his arm up like this, just basically motioning everybody ahead so that and you can't see anything. But it's really well done. But I'm just like, don't kill Spock's great grandfather. What the hell? So yeah, that was well done, and at the same time,
yeah, it's a brilliant piece. I love how they match it up, and the music's the same. I'm so intimately familiar with First Contact. I watched it so many times that I remember watching this the first time and going like, wow, same shot. Wait, who's that guy? That shot wasn't in the movie. And then that bearded guy, he was not in First Contact. So they kind of use him to advance the narrative of the mirror universe of them boarding the ship. Board their ship, take everything you can. And it's so good. It's so well done.
I only have one thing I don't like about that scene. Well, it's such a small thing. But the blocking there of, like you said, the guy with the beard and the people standing there, it's like, if you look at the original scene with everybody standing around, everybody's kind of scattered behind Cochran. They're all scattered around. But that shot of those people, they're all crunched together. They all look like they're behind like police tape. They're all in a perfect line behind. Like, I would have just staggered them a little, as opposed to just like them standing like behind like a line or something. That's the only nitpick I have about it. But the music, it, when you watch it, it feels like, yeah, you're watching First Contact. When you first see that, you're thinking, wait, did I just tune into First Contact? Is the movie almost over? Where's Enterprise? And then you see the guy with the beard and the other people, wait, I don't really recognize them, but maybe they were in the movie. But then I love it when they show the shot of Cochran pulling out the rifle, because of course you don't see the actor's face because it's not him, like Brandi was saying, but it's good because that's probably the shot you would have done anyway if
exactly
Cromwell was there, because you would put that close up of the gun coming out. So it works real well.
Yeah, it looks terrific. One aspect of this scene that I want to address a little bit is I continually see this crop up online when people are talking about the mirror universe. And there's this kind of thing out there where some people bring up this scene as saying like, oh, this is where the mirror universe started. Instead of the peaceful contact, instead Cochrane made the decision to kill the Vulcan and set off the mirror universe. And Brandi, you're shaking your head. Absolutely correct. No. In this very two-part episode, we know that it's from at least hundreds of years ago that the mirror universe was existing, because Phlox compares the literature of the mirror universe to the prime universe. And he says the stories are mostly the same, but the characters are all soft and weak and compassionate, except Shakespeare. Shakespeare's the same.
Equally dark in both universes.
Exactly. So, yeah, I like that idea that people kind of run with that a little bit, because then my brain kind of extrapolates some stuff, like where Picard and all of them off to the side there, and then they see this go down, they're like, crap. Let's get out of here. What's going on?
That's the interesting thing, is that happened well before. I mean, that the divergence, of course, of the timelines happened well before that whole situation. So this, is in a universe where maybe they never came back in time. Well, obviously it never came back in time. And even if they had, they certainly, I don't know what they would have done. But anyway, it would just be a very different story. And we don't need that.
Yeah. When I first saw the episode, that opening scene with Cochrane, that was my initial thought. Like, oh, they're using this moment as the time that sets off the mirror universe. But that scene you're talking about, Dan, and of course the opening theme footage and stuff that we see, I mean, regardless of all that, the point is that this is the mirror universe. It's not a mirror timeline. It doesn't diverge off of our timeline. Someone didn't change the time. It was an existing universe on its own. So even if this was the moment that set things really apart from our universe, they were always separate universes. They always, but they always kind of worked in parallel with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, the opening credits immediately after, like, I think put to rest any thought of that, because we see the alternate history and somebody planting the Terran Empire flag on the moon and all of this stuff. And obviously none of that happened before First Contact. I suppose you could go really deep and say, well, it's the Terran Empire, so it's revisionist history and this is just propaganda. Okay, but no, that doesn't matter. This is a different universe.
Yeah, and the theme music was markedly different. I wonder, perhaps someone will know this because I didn't bother to look it up, if this was music that already existed and they got the rights to use it, or was it composed specifically for these 2 episodes?
I heard it was composed for these episodes, but I'm not sure where I heard that or how true that is, or if that's even reliable info. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone in the chat is going to find out and tell us.
That would be good.
I like this outsourcing, the research and stuff.
We're doing the show, so we can't stop and look it up.
Oh, we could.
But that would be awkward and weird.
Yeah, it would just not be. Yeah, I have not heard if it would. I'm guessing it was probably written for this because it's not all that. I don't know, but I do remember when this premiered, how many people were like, "This is what it should have been from the start. It should have been music like this."
No, it shouldn't have.
Yeah, like, you're missing the point if you think this should be the template for Enterprise going forward. I'm like, oh my goodness. Which feeds into my big issue with the episodes, which again we'll get to in a little bit.
Well, can I call out Dave on in the chat real quick, because he says that it's the Fox News universe. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm going to have to call you out right now. You are in the Fox News universe.
Oh,
yeah, so be scared, okay?
Yeah, but this is where
sad.
This is the universe where Fox News wins, and there's no one else now. It's just all Fox News. That's what he's talking about.
Okay. Well, okay, we'll go.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you
See,
go.
Thank you so
I knew
much
that someone would look that up for us. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for making us look bad.
No. We're called the Unready Room. The Unready Room. We have to support a brand.
Exactly. No, it's making us look good because we have awesome people who are watching and doing this for us. So
exactly,
it's awesome.
Yep, that's great.
Okay, so yeah, we talked about the credits. Great stuff, great original music, and then we get introduced to the ISS Enterprise NX-01, and it turns out those agony booths that we saw in the original series and in Discovery were invented by Reed and Phlox, I guess. So, in our universe, Reed invented the force field. In that universe, he invented the torture device. So that's great.
Yeah, and it can keep your person conscious because it keeps moving the torture from nerve cluster to nerve cluster so they can't, become dead to the pain. So clever.
But it's just a Tellarite. He's probably late for a duty shift.
Yeah, he's guilty of something, isn't he?
Tellarites always are. Yeah.
Yeah, Phlox in these episodes absolutely terrifies me.
Why?
Terrifies me. Just no.
No.
Because he's not there to take care of you.
Yeah, exactly. He is there to, I mean, he's dissecting animals that are still living and breathing. And you can see like their chest moving on the table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Watching these episodes with Nikki, because recently we were watching all of Star Trek and got through Enterprise, and she saw these. Phlox was the most heartbreaking thing to her because she loved Phlox in Enterprise and just like hated this version of him, gleeful at the idea of torturing and Tholian's exoskeleton beginning to fracture and all this stuff, and she just like shudders at the thought of Phlox. And oh yeah, it's brutal.
I'm with Nikki.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, but he gets to wear really cool black leather. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Sure.
If that's your thing, sure, yeah.
Yeah, Phlox in black leather. I mean,
I've always wanted that.
I wish they were all dressed in that, honestly, and that there were no bare midriffs because I'm sorry, but to Paul's outfit, seriously, those pants were so low you could see the V going down to her crotch. That is not okay. It's not okay. It's bad enough that they dressed her in that skin tight outfit this whole time, but this is too much. Both her and Hoshi is too much. I hate it. I hate it.
I take it we're not going to show a screenshot of that on the show tonight.
If you got one, ready to go for it. But I don't have anything.
This episode is Brandi's torture chamber right now.
I'm in the agony booth right now, you guys.
Well, they have to do the midriffs. I mean, they don't have to, but I mean, it was done in the original series, so they're just playing off that.
So?
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's what they did. They didn't have to, but they did.
I know, but they did that because women were just sexual objects in these two episodes. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
This is kind of feeding into my overall point about these episodes. If they were doing a thoughtful examination of the mirror universe and the, whatever goes into that, they might have made a different choice. But that's not what these episodes are. What they are is, and I might be inciting some ire from fans here, I do enjoy these episodes. I enjoy watching them. I've seen them many times. But what they are is a nostalgia fest that is catering to Star Trek fans that want to see all the little boxes ticked as far as, the little callbacks to that kind of thing. There's nothing really insightful about these episodes. There's nothing really deep about them. It's just this happens, then this happens, then this happens in the mirror universe. And it does some really cool things story-wise, tying into the Tholian web and all the things like that. But yeah, it's not trying to be anything other than an, ooh, look at this. Remember that from the original series, we did this kind of thing. That's what they set out to do. So I'm not necessarily faulting them for that. I'm just saying like there wasn't room for them to make more nuanced decisions, even if they wanted to, which they didn't, because of what they're doing here, which is not any kind of deep storytelling or analysis. Does any of that make sense?
It does. It makes complete sense to me. And yes, I know that the bare midriffs were an homage to Uhura. That doesn't make it okay that Uhura was dressed like that. So I have a problem with the homage of Uhura because she shouldn't have been in that outfit either.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one's name? Marie. What was her name?
Marlena Moreau.
Marlena.
Yeah.
She was in a midriff, wasn't she?
Yeah, all the women.
All the females officers were. Every single one of them. But yeah, it's just nope.
Well, okay, Brandi, to your point, they didn't do that on Deep Space Nine then, right?
No, they didn't on Deep Space Nine, nor did they do it on Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the fact that they felt like doing that for Enterprise it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's just perpetuating this whole women as sexual objects. And maybe okay, but it's the mirror universe. That doesn't make it okay. That doesn't mean I want to watch it on my screen. That doesn't mean I want to see Linda Park being forced to make out with all these people that she has zero chemistry with, except for Anthony Montgomery. She had hella great chemistry with him. But it's just there's so much cringe for me in that, because all I'm sitting there thinking of every time she's having to seduce someone else is I'm like, Linda, I am so sorry they made you do this. I am so sorry.
Yeah. So tied into the point that I was kind of making there is that's one of the biggest problems with these episodes is you eliminate that tie to the Prime universe. You eliminate any kind of commentary on what's happening. So the original series, it's razor thin, but you could justify a bit of some of their decisions by, saying like, oh, we have our people coming to this universe and they're seeing like how misogynistic this is compared to our universe and how horrible they treat people compared to our universe. This universe, you don't get that perspective. You don't get that commentary. You just kind of enmeshed in that universe. So it feels like like more gratuitous, if that makes sense. Like it's just, you're just experiencing the story. You don't get the outsider perspective. And again, I know that's a razor thin justification for it in TOS. I still think it's mostly titillation they did it for. But at the same time, you do get Uhura going like, what's with this uniform? What's going on? You kind of get that like, wow, bizarro, this place is so crazy different. Whereas in these episodes, you don't really get that.
Yeah. I forget what I was going to say.
Sorry, Bruce.
No.
I babbled.
No. But yeah, the episode. Oh, I know what I was thinking. I was thinking today, because while I was watching it, I thought, there's always an episode of Star Trek that's somebody's first. Imagine somebody who's heard about Star Trek, and then this is the first time they've ever seen it. They'd be like, this is nothing like I imagined Star Trek would be. They would walk around talking about how bad it is that these characters are always, over-sexualized and a lot of violence, and it doesn't show a positive future, or these people are crazy and such. But you know what? To the point that we're talking about too, about the midriffs and stuff. I mean, I don't want to pick on Enterprise, but they've been known to do this, for other things too. I mean, they
not just in the Mirror universe.
Yeah, we've seen in the Prime universe, the gel, that
was always a problem for me.
Yeah, this series had that problem.
Yeah, well, and that's what happens when you are trying to appeal to just the male fans. And it's very frustrating as a female fan who has been watching this since before I understood what Star Trek was, to continually have that thrust in my face in series after series, where women don't get the respect they deserve, women don't get the time on screen that they deserve, they don't get the storylines they deserve, and it gets really old really, really fast. And I had to wait until Discovery before that finally went away.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another problem. It sounds like I'm just like having problems with this episode as well, but another issue I have with it, and they didn't necessarily know this at the time when they were writing it, but this is like 2 of the final episodes of season 4 of the final season of the show, and they're visually interesting and all that stuff, and kind of a cool concept, but at the same time, that's 2 hours of the story of Enterprise taken away because, and I've heard online, I've read somewhere that apparently this was the episode they were filming part 1 or part 2 when they found out they would for sure not be coming back next season, that's heartbreaking. And I always kind of watch these with that in mind, knowing that the actors at some point of filming this found that out. And what a tailspin to be put in, especially since you're not even playing the characters you've played for almost 4 years at that point. It's got to have been heartbreaking.
But that's the perfect time for them to find out that they've been canceled, because now they're grumpy and they just, their character portrayals.
maybe
I'm mad. I can't perform today.
Yeah, Scott Bakula wasn't overacting. He was just that angry.
Our show has been canceled. Ah!
Yeah.
Oh well.
No, that's a good
point. Oh well.
I'm sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to say another thing that I feel about these episodes is that there was not enough story here for 2 episodes. I mean, that whole thing with the Gorn just goes on forever and ever and ever, and it's boring. It is boring. It's just a bunch of people crawling around in oversized Jeffrey tubes trying to find this Gorn. Oh no, he rigged a communicator to make it simulate his biosign. Where is he now? And I'm like, this is like the bad version of Alien, when they're trying to chase the alien into one place and Dallas gets killed. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Alien, that movie is like really old at this point. So if you haven't seen it, hey, guess what? Dallas gets killed. If you don't know who Dallas is, you will if you watch Alien. It's just, I just kind of just got to the point where I'm like, oh, get on with it already.
Mm-hmm. See, that sort of stuff I'm enjoying on a certain level. And I mean, that level is I've turned off my brain. I'm not expecting any kind of high philosophical Star Trek.
Well, I wasn't either.
No, I know. But sorry. But I'm enjoying it on that level. But what's frustrating to me, and what I think you're kind of expressing here as well, is there's no depth to it. Like, it's just this happens, then this happens, then this happens. Oh, this person betrayed this person. Oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Reed got blown up. Archer doesn't care. He steps over him. Oh, that's interesting. Our Archer wouldn't do that, but okay. It's just, there's no substance to it.
The thing is that I'm watching all of this, and the question that I kept asking myself is, why should I care? Why should I care about any of this? Because it's, again, 2 hours, well, about an hour and a half, really, when you take out all the commercials, of show that could have been used for something more interesting, in my opinion. And also, since it has no real connection to absolutely anything else in the series, it's just kind of like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I care about any of this?
Now, I feel like... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bruce.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know. Well, okay. So this is how I felt at the time. Season 4 was my favorite season. When that season was going on, I was loving it. Every episode was loving it. This came in and it felt like totally different. Like, to Dan's point, there really isn't much of a story. It's just kind of playing out. But to me, this was just a fun little offset. I feel like it could have been done in one episode. I felt like the two kind of stretched it too long. But at the time, I remember watching it thinking, it's so cool to see a Constitution class ship from TOS on widescreen, high definition with special effects, seeing different parts of the ship, seeing this Gorn. Doesn't look quite like the other Gorn that we've seen, but this Gorn, seeing the uniforms from TOS on there. It was just like this fun thing. And I think the show opening credits just kind of set it up as like, this really isn't Star Trek Enterprise. We're just going off and doing something a little different. So I had fun with it, but I remember watching it feeling that the story was kind of lacking. It was just visually fun to watch and to see the cast have fun with it. But like, I almost think of it as really what it is. It's like a separate universe. It's separate from the rest of the series, but it's lacking in any real vision or story or any message or anything. It's just like, they're just playing along with this just to play along with it, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and that kind of goes back to my point a little bit, is like it feels the whole reason for these stories was for the nostalgia trip, to see the old sets, to recreate those, to have the old props, the old uniforms, and really kind of set off all those nostalgia triggers in our brains, I guess. But again, yeah, without any kind of deeper examination of that universe or the philosophy or anything like that. Like, that's one thing I love about Discovery's Mirror Universe episodes, is again, we get that Burnham there is kind of like, I'm losing myself in this mirror universe. It's becoming easy. How close are we to falling into this trap? Oh my God, these base human instincts, that kind of thing. Like, there's kind of an examination there. There's a reason for them, other than, hey, this looks really cool. And I'm not saying, hey, this looks really cool isn't a valid reason to have episodes. I mean, a lot of people love these episodes, and I applaud them for doing something different, for trying something new. A lot of the elements are things that I don't appreciate as much now as I did then, but I kind of say like, hey, they tried something different and did something new. That's kind of cool. But I wish, again, it wasn't at the end of season 4, when like that show deserved every hour of story it could get to tell its story. And I also wish some other choices had been made here and there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think my biggest problem the first time I saw it was that there was no cipher. There was no person for us to identify with that was seeing what we were seeing and having the reactions that we should be having.
Exactly.
And so that alienated me as a viewer from the very first time that I saw it. So
yeah.
And
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's just my opinion, that's how I felt. I'm not saying that there's a right way or a wrong way to view these episodes. I'm just, it still is just all about opinion. But in every other Mirror episodes, we had a cipher. We had someone from the Prime Universe that was witnessing these events, was involved in these events, or we had someone from the Mirror Universe in our universe.
Right.
So there was always that crossover, and this was lacking that. And in my opinion, that was a mistake, because I felt like I wasn't invested in anything that happened.
Yeah. I watched this again. I watched these 2 episodes today, but this is the first time that my mind went to really wanting something like that. And because I think it's been a while since I've watched it. And while I was watching this, I thought, I think I would have liked if they had done the reverse of what we're used to, which is we always start in the Prime Universe and our characters go and discover and go and play in the Mirror Universe or with the Mirror Universe characters. I would have liked us to start in the Mirror Universe and do the opposite. It's our Mirror Universe characters, and then at some point they cross into the Prime Universe, and we're following it from their standpoint. And then they're discovering what it is about them that's different. And maybe they're finding that there's hope when they see the Prime Universe of what could have been. And then they go back to their universe, but it doesn't disrupt anything we've seen in TOS or anything, because the Prime Universe isn't familiar with the Mirror Universe because they weren't there. It was the Mirror Universe characters that came to our universe. I thought it would have been cool to just do the opposite of what we usually do.
Yeah.
That's kind of almost exactly what I really hoped they were doing with Lorca, because he's a character from the Mirror that comes to our universe. And in the end, he kind of just goes back to mustache twirly villain. And I always wished that he'd like taken something from our universe. But that didn't play out. But I love what you're saying there, Bruce.
No, I agree.
Well, and then Zamboni says the story didn't have a reason to be told. Well, there's plenty of stories that in Star Trek that really don't have to be told either. But I guess what I was also thinking earlier, Trials and Tribulations in DS9 to me is very similar. It doesn't feel like it really connects anything else that's going on in the season of DS9. It just feels like this one-off thing. Again, I didn't walk away from that story thinking, oh, I really got something out of this, the messaging or something. but I think it plays better because it is our characters going into that universe and we're seeing it through their eyes versus this episode. But again, it's just supposed to be one of these little thrilling kind of fun nostalgia things like Dan, you were saying. So
yeah. And I guess that's, and I mean, it's actually funny. We've had a fairly in-depth conversation about it, but most of the conversations that I have about these episodes tend to go into like, oh, wasn't this cool? Wasn't this cool? Wasn't this cool? Which is fun. Like, that's a fun conversation. But again, it's just lacking that depth. So I have to say, I love this conversation that we're having because I think it has a lot more depth than these episodes usually elicit in these kind of conversations. So this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, but a lot of people love these episodes. They love these episodes. I mean, of the 4 that you had in your poll, that was
this went by a landslide. Yeah,
exactly. Because it's just it's not. I'm not talking midriffs when I say this, but it's iconic for Star Trek fans. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I include myself in that list. Like, there's a reason I've watched these episodes so many times, and I'm looking at like the visual effects and that kind of thing. And this came out, of course, before they remastered the original series and redid the visual effects. So this was the first time we got to see that classic ship flying around like that and kicking ass with its phasers and torpedoes. Like, again, this is that conversation. Wasn't this cool? Wasn't that cool?
Right.
But yeah, those are pretty darn cool. That was fun to watch for sure. And I mean, sorry, Scott Bakula rocks that V-neck green captain's uniform.
He does, actually.
It's so much fun. I love that.
and Travis makes a great red shirt. And
absolutely,
there was that one scene. You know, we had so much bare midriff, and all I got was to see Travis's well-defined arms when he was, you know, in a tank top instead of his full uniform. And I feel like I should have had equal time, but you know,
he should have been sleeveless. That would have been cool.
Yeah, he should have been totally sleeveless throughout the whole episode. Then there would have been some balance.
You got some bare archer chest here and there, I guess.
Yes, he's fine, but he's fine. But see, the problem is I'm not attracted to Scott Bakula in that way, and so it was just kind of like, eh. Right. Not that I don't love Scott Bakula, but it's in a friendly way. It's not in a he's hot way. Even though I do think he's an attractive person, I'm just digging myself a deeper hole. I'm going to stop talking.
No, I'll tell you what you got. I'll tell you what you got, Brandi. You got flocks and leather. Now that
there you go. I'd like to take this moment to welcome to the conversation Scott Bakula. So let me just bring it. No, I'm just kidding. So Brandi, sorry, you were saying?
Dude, I love you, man, but I did not like these episodes. No, it's I can just feel my face getting red with the very thought of it. So thanks.
No problem. I do want to bring up something Dave mentioned earlier, and it's a comment way back there. I'm not sure I can find it right now, but there is a little bit of a Prime Universe element that comes into this episode, and I feel like it's probably the result of them in the writers' room having kind of the same conversation we are now, where they're like, this loses meaning if you don't get a bit of a Prime Universe perspective. And what that is once they find the records of their Prime Universe counterparts, suddenly Mirror Archer has this kind of Prime Universe conscience Archer taunting him and mocking him as he's dealing with this. And I always thought that was an interesting choice. We sort of get to see Prime Universe Archer, but the Mirror Universe Archer's kind of construct of him and how he imagines him. So I can see how they were trying, but I don't think it quite gets there.
I always thought that was so weird. I always just the first time I saw it, I'm like, wait, why are they doing this? Why is he imagining Prime Archer? Is it because he's jealous of Prime Archer's accomplishments?
I think honestly.
So basically, he's having a breakdown. He's having a psychological break. And it's just kind of like, yeah, because that's definitely not our Archer. He would not say those things like that. I mean, he might say some things, but he wouldn't necessarily say them like that. But I thought that was weird the first time I saw these episodes.
Yeah. So there was something else I wanted to talk about, and it's a frequent guest star on Star Trek who shows up here as Admiral Black. And he's one of my favorite guest stars who shows up in like 100 different television shows. And I'm just blanking on his name right now, and it's driving me nuts because he's one of my favorites. But Gregory Itzin, I just remembered. Yes. I'm so happy I didn't see it and I just remembered it. Gregory Itzin, great character actor. He's been on Deep Space Nine, been on Voyager, and this little bit here on Enterprise. Unceremoniously vaporized by Archer in a great scene. Great for the Mirror Universe again, not any kind of depth or philosophy to it, but it's great to see him here. I really enjoy him and how oblivious he is to what's going on around him.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, he's showing up in person. Oh, this guy's gonna die. So yeah, that was I called that the first time I watched this episode, but yeah.
I recognized him. I didn't know his name, but I recognized him.
Yeah, he's got one of those faces.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to our good friend Patrick Carlin, he was on an episode of Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula. So,
oh, that's cool. Very cool. And he was, as TJ mentions, on Firefly as well. So that's awesome. Great actor. Really love him here. Yeah, the other scene, and we kind of briefly mentioned it too, that I've always enjoyed is Phlox and T'Pol talking about the literature and the history of the Prime Universe and stuff. And then that scene is punctuated, and this is just a fan geek moment. The end of that scene, we get the red alert klaxon, I think for the first time in a long time since the end of TNG in that episode. So that was fun.
It was fun. What was going on with T'Pol's nails, though? She had these long fake. She had these long fake fingernails on, and I'm just kind of like, why? Because even in the Mirror Universe, those are not useful. So why? They are illogical. No matter what universe you're in, if it's for a Vulcan, it was so weird to me. It was so weird to me.
I do remember.
Why does T'Pol have these long fake nails on? And they weren't like obscenely long or anything like that, like couldn't be used as weapons. But I'm just like, why do that?
Well, I know what she used them for. She used them on Trip. That's why his eyes, she went, she probably.
No, that was delta radiation. He already talked about that. Thank you.
In a nice homage to Captain Pike in the DP chair as well. Yeah. I guess nice homage, maybe. Not so much. Maybe that's the wrong wording, but
difficult homage. Or actually kind of, like a precursor to what was going to happen to him in These Are the Voyages.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
No, we don't. Let's never speak of it again.
I was wondering when that was going to come up. I knew that was coming.
Yet another hour taken away from the telling the story of Enterprise.
No,
but anyway, that's
Chef.
That's for another episode. You're gonna get me worked up. So I don't know anything else in these episodes that we want to talk about specifically. Bruce, please. Yes, the floor is yours.
Well, I like the Tholians. Like
that's a good point.
Yeah. I love the Tholian, like seeing them on the little legs and everything and all that and screech. I was like, every time like I read a novel or a comic or whatever, Tholians, I think of that scene. Well, there's
Yeah. And wow, how fast they can make a web when all their ships are working.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Right?
Like they do in like 10 seconds what it took 10 hours on the original series.
Well, they had 2 ships. One of them was damaged, whereas this one was like 6 ships and they were all fully functional. So they just banged that out.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's pretty cool that we get to see once they're done, it just kind of keeps contracting until it blows up the Enterprise. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. See, eye candy. That's what this is.
That's ship candy.
Yeah. Like that's what these episodes are pretty much, is eye candy. Which is fine. Like that's a valid reason. It's just not my favorite reason for an episode to be. But yeah.
No, but I like what they did with the Defiant. Like, you see the Defiant disappear on the original series in the Tholian Web, and then all of a sudden, here it is. You're like, oh, now I know where it went. And then it gets used in Discovery.
Yeah. I love also that the graphic that Archer shows them when he's displaying the interphasic rift, that kind of bubble there, that's exactly the same graphic. I mean, updated with modern colors and stuff, but the same graphic they used in the Tholian Web to show the region of interphase that they were getting caught in there. So that was pretty cool. There's a lot. I mean, these episodes, you can tell they're paying attention, right? Like they're not just thrown together. Like there is a lot of love and a lot of care and attention to detail put into these episodes, which like the uber fans who notice that little tiny minutia really appreciate. So, I definitely want to praise the artistry of the set designers and all the background production people really making these episodes look amazing, because they did an incredible job.
Yep. And I liked seeing other parts of the ship that we never saw in TOS. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, I mean, really, and I hadn't thought about it this way, but this is a crossover episode. It's an Enterprise TOS crossover episode. It just doesn't have the cast from TOS in it.
Just the dead bodies.
Right. Well, yeah, which the insignia, the badge, the thing is not really
it's not right.
You're right.
It's not right. But the placement of the dead bodies on the bridge was actually very accurate to the way they looked in the Tholian Web. So they had that going for them.
Yeah. I think the other main difference, for whatever reason, the railings around the bridge, I was actually reading about this. On the original set, they're kind of angled. There's like chunks like that. But on this, they're rounded and curved. So if you do compare them side to side, there is that little difference. But yeah.
Well, I can't watch it now.
It's unwatchable. Unwatchable Drek, thanks to that. Yeah. I'm so sorry I even mentioned it.
I wish that was what made it unwatchable for me. I wish that was it. Because, that would be something that I could laugh about. So.
Another little thing in this episode, the records of Archer and Hoshi that we see on the screens, apparently, full bios have been written up for those and that sort of thing. So you learn a lot of interesting stuff if you freeze frame it. So this is where we get the idea that Archer eventually became president of the Federation at one point and survived to see the launch of the Enterprise 1701 before he passed away. And Hoshi, I think, was on Tarsus 4 when Governor Kodos killed everybody. Yeah. And I can't remember. I'm scared to look up if she was among the casualties or not. Now, it's not legible on screen, so you maybe be able to say that's not canon. But yeah.
That wasn't... They didn't put that in... oh, man, what book was that? The Discovery novel that took...
Drastic measures.
Hoshi was there, wasn't she? Or was she?
No, she wasn't. And we talked to the author about that. And he said that was just one more thing that he's like, I already have Kirk in the novel. I already have this, and this. And it's I didn't want to put Hoshi in there. But she was apparently originally in an outline at some point to be in that novel. But It was just like one more little reference he couldn't quite work in. So
I'm actually really glad that he couldn't work that in, because that would have destroyed me even more than that book already destroyed me. That was a hard read for me, not because it wasn't well written. It was extremely well written, but the story was so hard.
Yeah.
It was so hard.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, anything else that we haven't covered?
Yeah, I'm going to bring this up because I feel like it needs to be said. And okay, so a few weeks back, I was watching a GalaxyCon panel that was the villains of Star Trek, but it wasn't really all villain people. I mean, they had Jeffrey Combs, which is the only reason I was there, to be honest. And they also had Vaughn Armstrong and two other guys whose names I'm sorry I can't remember. And I lost complete and total respect for Vaughn Armstrong during this panel, because he made a point of talking about these Mirror Universe episodes and how he got to make out with Linda Park. And that was awesome. And he even went home. He talked about how he went home and told his wife, guess what I did at work today? I made out with Linda Park. And she was a teacher and was correcting papers at the time and broke her pencil. She was so angry.
Oh,
wow.
So Vaughn Armstrong can suck it as far as I'm concerned. And so that makes these episodes especially hard for me to watch, especially when she has to kiss him. It's nauseating.
Not a member of the Vaughn Armstrong fan club. Got
Not
it.
anymore.
I will
Not
take
anymore.
your name off the register there.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's not cool. That sounds pretty.
that
pretty
scene
awful.
though does make me cringe when they're kissing, making out, and now when I watch it, really is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that he's like, oh yeah, wait till I go home and tell my wife, woohoo!
The fact that he boasts about it at all, but then boasts about how he told his wife and her reaction.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
I want to hear him say that on stage with Linda Park sitting next to him.
Yeah, I'd like to see her reaction to that.
I bet she didn't run home and go, guess who I made out with today?
She absolutely didn't, except probably about Anthony Montgomery. She looked like she was enjoying that one.
The making out scene that always I always enjoyed when I was when I first saw this episode is when Archer and Hoshi are making out and she pulls the knife and Archer just like stops, keeps making out. Something about that, like it's like 50% cringe, 50% interesting choice. Like I don't know how I feel about that scene now, but I remember at the time being like, damn.
Well, she used to be with him before she was with the captain, so he knows her.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
But didn't see that poison champagne coming, did he?
Apparently not.
I was waiting for it. The first time that I saw these episodes, I was like, she's not doing this because she actually likes any of these people. She definitely has her own agenda in mind. And then, of course, it is revealed at the end. So, yeah. And another thing that bothers me, why do we have to genderize titles like Emperor and Empress? And that's another thing I really liked about Emperor Giorgio, is that it's just Emperor, no matter what gender the person is holding that title. So it feels like an antiquated thing that was created to keep women out of power a lot of the time. So, and I'm not saying that that's the reason that it continues. I'm just saying, let's just stop doing that. It's not necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've tried really hard in my, to say actor when I'm talking about someone who performs in television, films, or on stage, because what's the difference? Like, why does it matter? So, yeah, the needlessly gendering stuff, I'm just like, they're actors.
Let's just stop. Yeah.
You're acting. Watching the Oscars the other night, because it's still best supporting actor, best supporting actress, best, that's and it's like at the same time, I'm like, why do we even divide those up even by men and women? Just like the top actors, whether they're men or women or not. And like, I don't know.
It doesn't, maybe because they wanted a longer show. I don't know. It's already too long. Just stop it.
Tradition, I guess, for now. But
Yeah, well, there's no particular virtue in doing things the way they've always been done.
Yeah. But
Absolutely.
that ending scene you're talking about, I'm glad because I wanted to get to the Empress Sota, the very, very end of it. When I watched that episode the first time and it ended, I was like, wait, that's it? I want to see what happens next. And then nothing happened. But yeah, if there was a season 5, I guess we would have. But I was disappointed because it felt like it should. Like I wanted to see what she was going to do. Like I wanted to see that part.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that segues perfectly into the next thing that I was wanting to talk about, which is this comment. So yeah, there were apparently plans to return to the Mirror Universe to continue the story arc, which, might have made it a little bit more meaningful, I guess, if you kind of return there a little bit every season or something like that. If Enterprise had continued, that would be interesting. I also have to say, I do like that it feeds into what happens in Discovery. I like that they took that and went with it and incorporated that into their story. So it definitely has staying power. I think this story sticks in a lot of people's minds and they remember it. I think I would have liked to have seen more too, to find out what happens after that. Which you can if you read the novels. So there's my plug. Read the novels, the Mirror Universe, short stories, the novels, Age of the Empress. Absolutely.
I think I did. Yeah, I read that. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So final thoughts? Rating for these episodes, maybe? I don't know. It might be a tough one to rate.
I'm probably never going to watch these episodes again. It's just not fun for me. And especially with the whole Varn Armstrong thing. It made me physically ill to watch her have to do that. It just very uncomfortable. So yeah, I'm perfectly happy never watching these again. And I feel again like there were good things in there, but I just don't want to revisit that. Don't need to. I'm not the right audience for those 2 episodes.
Yeah. Bruce?
I don't know how to rate it. I mean, I will watch it.
Tough. Again. Yeah.
But I've always struggled with those episodes and what I really think. Because I do hear a lot of people say online, like, oh, it's some of their favorites of Enterprise. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. But there's so many more better ones of Enterprise. But again, it's just this fun little, it's like this break. It's almost like this intermission in the season of something, like, we're going to go off and just kind of do something weird and crazy. Then we'll come back. I wouldn't give it 500 cridges or 2 out of 5 midriffs or anything like that are unnecessary. Oh gosh. I'm going to say I give it 7.5 animals that Phlox is like doing something on or something or nothing. They're like on his table. Like, and I say 7.5 out of 10 because he chopped one in half. I don't know.
Wow. Graphic.
Well, it's the Mirror Universe. You've got to be graphic.
You got to up it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoy these episodes for the spectacle. I don't know. I'm going to admit something to everyone. I didn't rewatch these episodes in full this time around. Simply because I've watched them so many times because they're so visually cool and all that kind of stuff that like I started rewatching them and I got to some point and I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen next. I know what the next line is. I know how, I've seen them so many times that like, I don't need to watch it. I'll probably watch them again someday. Won't be for quite a while. I do like the spectacle of them. I like the visual effects. I like the obvious care that went into them. Story-wise, though, I find myself drifting when I'm watching it because there's just nothing there that grabs me substance wise. So it almost feels like I need a different rating, like the work that went into it and how awesome it is, 5 out of 5. The story, 2 out of 5. I don't know. Like I find it hard to have a flat rating across the board for it.
Yeah. But to your point of, just kind of getting bored at times, or, when Brandi was talking about, you were saying about the Gorn scene, it's just I found myself today when I was watching them, that was the time I noticed I was on my phone playing a game.
Yeah. I went on my phone, and I never do that during Star Trek, but I went on my phone during this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually do that. I actually watched all of it. So, and I agree. It's okay to enjoy these episodes, but it is also okay for me to not enjoy them.
Absolutely.
And it's just a difference of opinion and feelings. And so people who enjoy it, I'm not going to say, what the hell is wrong with you? That's not how I work. If you enjoy these episodes, I'm so happy that you can enjoy these episodes. I wish that I could, but I can't.
Yeah.
So
there's people that enjoy Sub Rosa. So, I mean.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not going to yuck your yum.
No, of course
I'm not going to yuck your yum at all. It's just, these are not for me.
The good thing, though, Brandi, is that you don't like these episodes. You don't want to watch them again. And the great thing is you don't have to, because it doesn't connect to anything.
Exactly. It's not part of the plot. It's not part of the overarching story. So
they don't have to exist.
And I mean, if I really want to see more of Anthony Montgomery, full shirt off, I can watch, that one episode. Oh my gosh, what is it called? I don't know. I hate when I do this. It's right after the ship has gone through the minefield and they go to that station to get it repaired, and it's all automated, and they actually steal Travis and replace him with a replicant sort of thing. But we do get to see replicant Travis with dead stop, right?
Yeah.
With his shirt off, and I about fell on the floor the first time that happened. I'm like, that is what is under that uniform. Why don't we get to see more of that? So, I mean, he is a very finely formed human. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but he is a very finely formed human.
I've noticed. Because I always look at him and go, why can't I look like that?
Right?
I mean, I could, but it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
No, it's not. I want to look like that.
Yeah, but you're not willing to put in the effort. So
you're right. I don't put in the effort. Right before we came on, I put some ice cream in this mug and I was eating it. I shouldn't have been doing that.
Well, you know what I'm going to do right after this? We got a fire pit, Dave and I. We've never had a fire pit before. We have a fire pit now, and we're going to light some things on fire, and we're going to roast some weenies. So, yeah, that's going to be fun.
I'll be right over.
That sounds good.
We've even got little telescoping sticks with little prongs on the end specifically
those are great.
for weenies and marshmallows. Yes, it's going to be fun. And then I'm going to smell like fire for the rest of the night.
Nice. Well, I guess this is the part of the evening where we open it up to people to post episode titles and movie titles, and the first 3 that get mentioned we'll put in our to poll, and we'll do the random thing to pick a 4th one, and we'll talk about that in 2 weeks. So I see people discussing episodes. There we go. Okay, we've got Take Me Out to the Holosuite. I was really hoping there'd be some Deep Space Nine. Oh my goodness.
No.
Really?
No, I'm not saying about that one. I was Take Me Out to the Holosuite is a great episode.
I know the one you're talking about.
Oh, why?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got our choices already. So the good thing is no one's gonna vote for it. Sorry, TJ. So we have Take Me Out to the Holosuite. We have The Outrageous Okona.
Why?
I'm not editorializing, I swear.
We were on the same page, TJ, until this moment.
And we have Workforce. So that's exciting. Voyager. Okay. So Take Me Out to the Holosuite. I'll do the little recap for everyone. Take Me Out to the Holosuite is the Deep Space Nine episode where they all play baseball on the Holosuite. Probably figured that out from the title. The Outrageous Okana, Season 2 of TNG. Data attempts to learn about humor, and we meet Captain Thadian Okana, the pity role given to the guy because he was a runner-up to play Riker.
Right. I just wanted that again.
TJ saying it was a joke. He swears it was a joke.
Okay. All right. We'll take it out.
So that means Piece of the Action moves in.
Which is exciting. That's cool. Okay. So Workforce is a 2-part episode from season 7 of Voyager. The Voyager crew, a bunch of them get abducted and become brainwashed and thinking they have really good jobs in factories on this planet. Really interesting episode. And Piece of the Action. Original series episode, Gangsters, 1930s Chicago mobs on Sigma Aosha 2. So,
I wish Enterprise would have gone there because I want to see Scott Bakula play in that. That would be cool.
There was that was one of the ideas tossed around for Trials and Tribulations, was that they'd return to that planet in that episode. But so that's been an idea a few times over the years. It's just never been made. It would be interesting for sure. Okay, so do we want to do a random number generator thing to figure out?
But I swear, if Siri picks 5 again for the number between 1 and 10, we're choosing again. Because Siri picks 5 way too much.
Okay.
Way too much. Are you going to do it, Bruce, or do you want me to do it?
I can do it, I guess. But we're limiting anytime 5 comes. So 5's out of the running. And then...
No, 5's out of the running as far as the first time. So 1 through 10, if it picks 5, we're going to have it choose again. Because
so we're picking this randomly, sort of.
You know what? I could get my 10-sided die out if you want.
That means we're not doing Voyager, right? Because that would be number 5 in the list.
Yeah, we've had so many 5s.
Okay.
We really, really have.
So, hey Siri, give me a number between 1 and 10.
A random number between 1 and 10 is 1.
Oh. Okay, so TOS.
TOS. And then, the 3 seasons, right? Hey Siri, give me a number between 1 and 3.
A random number between 1 and 3 is 2.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so the original series had weird numbers of episodes. So let me see. Season 2 had 26 episodes. Okay, so actually matches most later seasons. So.
Oh. Wait, what's the 5th episode in case she says 5?
No, it's fine if it says 5. It just picks Voyager way too much.
Okay.
Not that I don't like Voyager. I do. I really do.
You just want to, switch it up occasionally, right?
I want to spread the love around. Spread it around, man.
Yeah. Hey, Siri, give me a number between 1 and 26.
A random number between 1 and 26 is 17.
Ooh, 17 is... interesting. The Gamesters of Triskelion.
Oh.
Lady Gaga's distant descendant. That one.
Oh my. So that one, that's one of the ones that for whatever reason, but back, when I really started getting into Star Trek and I had my VCR, there was just, I had maybe, I don't know, not many, like half dozen or so episodes on a VHS tape, and that was one of them. And it was a tape I watched over and over again, and that was the one episode I always get to and go, oh, not this one again.
Oh, no. So those who don't know, Gamesters of Triskelion, Kirk, Chekhov, and Uhura get abducted and are forced to fight in these, basically these gladiator contests that are being bet on by disembodied brains. It's the original series. It's weird, like most of them. So.
But I like the Lady Gaga thing. You're right. She looks like Lady Gaga.
Yeah, there's a character that dresses and looks a bit like Lady Gaga. So. So yeah, I will put these all together in a poll. You can vote for your favorite episode or which one you want us to talk about in 2 weeks on Twitter. The poll will be up shortly after we go offline, and that'll be on @PositivelyTrek on Twitter. So go to @PositivelyTrek. We'll all retweet it from our various accounts as well. So yeah, if you see that, vote early and vote often with as many accounts as you have.
Definitely.
Yeah. What do we do now?
Now we tell people
we walk.
we're-
Yeah.
Hmm?
I was going to
Sorry.
say we just walk quietly away.
Everybody just gets up and leaves, and we leave the blank screens. No.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Brandi, where can we find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Brandywine12. That's the easiest place to figure out what I'm up to these days. I have some podcasts, What the Future Holds, which is a Star Trek Discovery podcast, and Boldly Go, a Star Trek Strange New Worlds podcast. Yeah, I know the series isn't out yet. I don't care. There's still Captain Pike in season 2 that we can talk about for a great long time. And then, of course, we have Spock and number 1 in that second season of Discovery. So, yes, there are things to talk about before the episodes start airing of Strange New Worlds. So we're talking about them. And you can find both of those anywhere that you can find podcasts. They're hosted over on Anchor, which is a great little platform for people to really just very simply do this podcasting thing and just be able to seamlessly post their episodes and have them go out and be available. And it's amazing. And it's also free. And I really appreciate Anchor. This is not an ad for Anchor. I have not been paid for this, but they are so easy to use. I can't even begin to tell you. It's really great.
Awesome.
And yeah, so and then here every other week you can find me here. And
Yeah.
someday Infinite Trek will come back, and someday the Vedic Assembly will come back, but they're on hiatus right now.
Very cool. Well, you can find me and Bruce when he's not abandoning us here on the Positively Trek podcast. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find me on this channel making mostly Star Trek videos. I have some ideas for some other stuff coming up that might involve making a second YouTube channel. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to everyone in the comments for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for the kind words. Donnie Pearson, thank you very much. Very nice of you. And really appreciate each and every one of you. So I don't think Bruce is coming back. So until next time, live long and prosper and take care.